The Galactic Syndicate, a powerful alien empire, had ruled the stars for millennia. Their ships cruised through the cosmos with unmatched speed and might, their technology far surpassing anything the universe had ever seen. But even in their vast empire, there were still mysteries. Deep in the heart of space, far from any known planets, the Syndicate's best scanners detected something strange. A faint signal, barely a whisper against the endless expanse of the void. Commander Xylar, a grizzled veteran of countless campaigns, stared at the readout on his ship's main screen. His sharp eyes narrowed as he studied the coordinates. The signal came from a star system far beyond their reach, a system marked as solar system. He snorted in disbelief. Another primitive species relic, he muttered, rolling his eyes. Probably some leftover signal from an extinct race. His voice was full of sarcasm. After all, this far-out system was known for being abandoned, a place where no alien had ever bothered to venture. A dead system, they had called it, nothing more than a forgotten corner of the galaxy. No valuable resources, no intelligent life, just another barren planet, Earth. Chief Scientist Vitar, who stood beside him, was not as dismissive. With his thin alien features, wide green eyes, and a mind sharp enough to cut through the deepest mysteries of the galaxy, Vitar turned his gaze from the screen to Xylar. I disagree, Commander. The signal is old, yes, but it is far too advanced to be a mere relic. There is something more to it. This energy signature, it doesn't belong to any species we know. It's different. Xylar didn't respond immediately. His eyes stayed locked on the screen, watching the signal pulse weakly against the blackness of space. The signal, though faint, had a peculiar rhythm to it, almost like it was trying to communicate. But communicate what? What could an ancient, long-dead system have left to say? Still skeptical, Xylar waved off Vitar's concerns. It's just some forgotten message. Maybe the humans left behind some ancient artifact, but nothing more. Earth was abandoned centuries ago. We've already scoured it for anything of value. There's nothing there. But Vitar wasn't convinced. He adjusted his glasses and zoomed in on the signal source. Commander, the energy readings are fluctuating in a way that suggests it's coming from something far more powerful than a simple message. This could be an ancient ship, or perhaps something much worse. His voice grew more serious. We need to investigate. If we ignore this, the consequences could be dire. Xylar's face hardened. He knew Vitar was right, but he was too proud to admit it. Reluctantly, he gave the order to change course. Fine. We'll investigate. But if this turns out to be a waste of time, I'll hold you responsible. As the Syndicate fleet moved deeper into the solar system, the vast emptiness of space slowly started to change. The first thing they noticed was the debris, scattered remnants of what looked like destroyed ships, ancient and covered in the dust of centuries. The debris field stretched out around Earth, a strange, eerie halo of forgotten technology, waiting to be uncovered. Xylar couldn't help but feel a growing unease. The debris field was larger than expected. There were signs of ancient battles, crushed hulls, broken fragments of what appeared to be shields and weapons. It was clear that something had happened here, something monumental. But what? As the alien ships crept closer to Earth's orbit, they saw what had been hidden for so long. Massive ships, their forms dark and imposing, lay dormant in the cold silence of space. These weren't just any ships. These were warships. And judging by their design, they were older than anything the Syndicate had encountered. The commander's ship hovered in the middle of the debris field, the long-range scanners barely able to penetrate the thick cloud of shattered metal and space debris. Xylar frowned, his instincts on edge. What are these ships? They don't match anything we've seen before. Vitar began his analysis, his fingers flying across the console. These ships, they appear to be of human origin, but their technology is far beyond what we expected. These are no simple warships. These are ancient guardians. Xylar's skepticism remained, but something about the way Vitar spoke struck him. His scientist was usually unshaken by things like this, but today there was a hint of awe in his voice. "Guardians," Xylar repeated, his tone skeptical. "What do you mean?" Vitar didn't respond immediately, his eyes glued to the readings on his screen. The ships before them were unlike anything in their archives. The energy signatures were unusual, too precise to be ancient debris. The weapons systems, still functional, though dormant, were like nothing the Syndicate had in its arsenal. Xylar stared at the view ahead, his thoughts racing. "It doesn't make sense," he muttered. Earth was nothing but a graveyard for their kind. These ships should be ancient relics of a dead civilization. But Vitar was already focused on something else. His screen flashed bright, and suddenly, an enormous warship, one of the largest, powered on, its dark hull shimmering as the engines roared to life. A deep rumble echoed through the commander's ship, as if the varied fabric of space had been disturbed. Xylar's eyes widened. He had seen battleships awaken before, but never anything like this. This ship was alive. Its engines hummed with terrifying power, and Xylar's heart skipped a beat. What in the galaxy? Before he could say another word, the warship's massive weapons began to charge, its energy weapons crackling with bright, destructive potential. The alien fleet had just crossed a line. They weren't dealing with relics or ancient technology anymore. They were dealing with something active, something powerful. The unknown ship loomed before them, its immense size casting a shadow over the Syndicate fleet. Xylar could feel the tension in the air, the realization dawning on him that Earth was not as abandoned as they had thought. There was still life here, and it wasn't ready to die. As the ship's weapons powered up, the alien fleet moved into position, unsure of what to expect next. All they knew was that they had just awoken something far more dangerous than they could have ever imagined. The silence of space was broken by the hum of the alien fleet as it drifted through Earth's orbit, scanning the remnants of the long-abandoned warships. Commander Xylar and his crew looked on, unimpressed. To them, these massive ships were just another collection of ancient wreckage, dead metal, relics of a lost civilization. There were no signs of life, no activity. They were nothing but history's forgotten weapons, left to rot in the cold vacuum of space. Xylar leaned back in his seat, his eyes narrowing. "It's just as I thought," he muttered, crossing his arms. "Nothing more than a graveyard of old ships. Nothing here can threaten the Syndicate." His chief scientist, Vitar, wasn't as quick to dismiss the findings. His green eyes were wide with a mixture of curiosity and caution. "Commander, I don't believe this is just debris. There's something strange about these ships, something I haven't seen before." Xylar shot him an impatient look. "What do you mean?" "The energy readings are all over the place. They're ancient, primitive." Vitar didn't respond to the criticism. Instead, he focused on the scans. He zoomed in on the largest of the dormant ships, a massive, hulking vessel with a sleek design. It was buried deep within the debris field, its true shape hidden from view. But the energy readings coming from it were anything but ordinary. "Commander," Vitar's voice was tense, "these ships are not powered by conventional energy sources. The readings are fluctuating in ways I've never encountered. It's like they're drawing power from something we've never seen before." Xylar frowned, moving to Vitar's console to look over the scientist's shoulder. The screen showed strange energy signatures, unlike anything in the Syndicate's records. It was almost as if the ships were dormant, waiting for something to wake them. Xylar could feel a twinge of unease in the pit of his stomach, but he quickly shoved it aside. "It doesn't matter. These ships are long past their prime. Whatever energy they have left is too weak to be of any consequence." But Vitar wasn't so sure. "We've misjudged this system, Commander. There's something more at play here. This energy source, it could be something entirely new. I think we've underestimated what Earth was capable of." Suddenly, The quiet hum of the ship's sensors turned into a shrill warning. The entire fleet's screens flickered as a new energy signature emerged. It wasn't coming from the ships. They were still dormant. No, this was something much more. Ancient. Impossible. Vitar whispered, his voice thick with disbelief. It's not the ships. It's coming from Earth itself. Xylar snapped his attention to the main view screen, his face hardening as the situation began to shift. Below them, Earth seemed peaceful, its blue oceans and green continents spinning quietly. But something was changing. The silence of centuries was being broken. From beneath the surface, deep within the Earth's forgotten bunkers, a massive ancient AI system began to stir. This was no ordinary defense system. It was Idolon, the hidden protector of Earth. Designed to protect humanity from external threats, Idolon had been dormant for centuries, its creators lost to time. But now, with the alien fleet hovering above, it was beginning to wake. The Earth's AI had one directive: preserve Earth. And that meant one thing: the alien fleet was an enemy. In an instant, the first signs of activation rippled across the planet's surface. Ancient warships, buried deep in the oceans and hidden within massive underground caverns, began to power on. The dormant engines hummed with energy, long-forgotten weapon systems flickering to life. The massive ships had been waiting, hiding from the galaxy for centuries, and now they were ready to fight. Vitar watched in awe as the energy signature around Earth grew. This is unbelievable," he muttered under his breath. "The scale of this, the ships are fully activating. It's not just the warships. Idolon is powering them all up." Xylar's mind raced. He had seen many things in his time, but nothing like this. He had thought Earth was nothing more than a faint memory, a dead world, full of ruins. But now, it seemed as though they had underestimated the human race. The ships were too advanced, too powerful to be simply left behind. These weren't just relics, they were weapons, and they were waking up. Then, a sudden roar from the largest warship shattered the tense silence. The ship, massive, dark, and sleek, came to life. It was unlike anything the Syndicate had ever encountered. Its engines glowed with a deep, pulsing energy, and as they powered up, the ship's weapon systems hummed to life. Vitar gasped in shock. It's the Leviathan," he whispered. "The flagship. This ship, its design. It's far beyond anything we've seen. These weapons, these are not primitive relics. They are alive. The Leviathan is the last of its kind, and it has just awoken." The Leviathan's design was sleek, built for both beauty and deadly efficiency. Its dark, angular hull was etched with glowing energy conduits, and its weapon systems were vast, stretching across its hull like a deadly spider's legs. The size of the Leviathan was incomprehensible. Its silhouette alone made the Syndicate ships around it seem insignificant. Xylar stood frozen, staring at the enormous warship. It was a predator, and they were its prey. The Leviathan's weapons charge, the energy gathering in its core. The ship's energy signature intensified, sending shockwaves through space, its sheer power undeniable. This was a force beyond their understanding, a relic of a past civilization that had perfected war itself. "Commander, we need to leave," Vitar urged, his voice tight with panic. "This ship is more than we can handle. We don't have the firepower to fight something like this." But Xylar didn't move. His mind was racing. He had never encountered anything like this before, but he knew one thing for sure: Earth was not a dead world. It was a world that had been waiting. The Leviathan's weapons charged further, a terrible glow filling the void of space. It was locked onto their mothership, its targeting systems aimed directly at them. The alien fleet had unwittingly awakened the Earth's last line of defense, and now they were about to feel its full wrath. Cliffhanger. The Leviathan's weapons were fully charged, and the massive warship locked onto the alien mothership with deadly precision. Space seemed to hold its breath as the first shot was about to be fired. Would the alien fleet survive, or had they triggered the beginning of their own destruction? The vast emptiness of space was shattered by the sudden flash of energy. The alien fleet, still hovering near Earth's orbit, had made a critical miscalculation. Commander Xylar, his confidence already shaken by the power of the Leviathan, now watched with a smug grin as he issued his orders. "Fire warning shots," he commanded, his voice full of certainty. "Let's remind them who's in charge here. Earth's ships are nothing but dust and rust. They'll surrender, or we'll obliterate them." The alien ships powered up their massive energy cannons, aimed directly at the Leviathan. The air crackled with energy as bright pulses of light shot out toward the giant warship. The lasers and plasma blasts surged through the cold void, flashing past the Syndicate ships like streaks of fire. The massive Leviathan sat motionless in space, its dark hull gleaming ominously under the barrage of fire. For a moment, nothing seemed to happen. Then, in a split second, the Leviathan's energy defenses flared to life. The ship's advanced shields absorbed the incoming energy blasts with barely a ripple. The alien weapons, though powerful, couldn't even dent the warship's outer defenses. Before the aliens could react, the Leviathan struck. The silent roar echoed through space as the warship unleashed its advanced railguns. The massive cannons charged with an incredible deadly energy, firing bolts of kinetic energy at incredible speeds. The first shot hit a Syndicate destroyer, and in an instant, the ship was torn apart. Explosions ripped through its hull as the deadly projectile plowed through the vessel, turning it to debris. The next shot destroyed two more Syndicate ships, the precision of the Leviathan's weapons overwhelming any attempts to counteract it. In mere seconds, 3 warships had been obliterated, no warning, no chance to retaliate. The soundless destruction was a testament to the power of Earth's ancient fleet. Panic spread like wildfire through the ranks of the alien fleet. The commander had underestimated the scale of Earth's response. The aliens had thought they were facing a primitive, defenseless planet. Now, the truth was clear. They were facing an enemy that had been preparing for centuries, and their advanced weaponry was no match for the might of the Leviathan. "Report," Xylar barked, his voice tight with disbelief. "Commander, we can't stop it," Vitar stammered, his face pale. "The AI on that ship, it's anticipating our every move. The moment we fire, it already knows. The Leviathan systems are too advanced. It's predicting our strategies before we even make them." Xylar's mind raced. How is that possible? These ships are centuries old. How could they have such an intelligence? Vitar swallowed hard. "It's not just the ship, Commander. It's the AI, Idolon. It controls the entire fleet. It's watching us, learning our patterns, and then counteracting them faster than we can respond." Xylar slammed his fist down on the console in frustration. "So what now? We sit here and wait to be destroyed." Vitar didn't answer immediately. His eyes flicked over to the Leviathan, still hovering ominously in space. Then a new signal came through. The Leviathan was powering up. It wasn't just the Leviathan, though. The entire fleet was coming online. One by one, Earth's ships, dormant for centuries, were beginning to awaken. "Commander," Vitar shouted in alarm, "we have to act now. The rest of Earth's fleet is. It's coming online. We're outnumbered." Xylar's grip tightened on the arm of his chair. He had underestimated the power of Earth's ancient defenses. Now, the battle had shifted. They weren't facing one ship. They were facing an entire fleet, controlled by an AI that anticipated their every move. The alien fleet was vulnerable. "Order all ships to fire at will," Xylar shouted. His voice was a growl now. "We'll destroy them before they can gather strength." The Syndicate fleet shifted into formation, every ship opening fire with everything they had. Plasma blasts filled the darkness of space, streaking through the void toward the newly awakened ships. But as the first shots reached the Leviathan, something happened that no one expected. A soft shimmer, barely visible against the backdrop of space, appeared around the Leviathan. The massive ship activated a cloaking device, vanishing entirely from sight. The alien lasers passed through the empty space where the Leviathan had been moments before. The alien fleet froze, disoriented. Panic spread like wildfire. Where did it go? Vitar's voice was shaking now. It's vanished. It's using a cloaking device. We can't see it. Xyler slammed his fist down in frustration, his voice rising. This is a disaster. We're exposed. We don't know where the threat is coming from anymore. Just then, a terrible realization hit him. The rest of Earth's fleet, hidden in the darkness of space, had begun to awaken. One by one, massive warships powered on, their engines flickering to life in the distance. The light from their engines illuminated the void, like stars appearing in the blackness of night. Earth's fleet was rising, and the aliens were about to face the full wrath of a force they couldn't comprehend. The massive warships, once dormant for centuries, began to move as one. Their power systems hummed, their weapons primed and ready for the attack. And now, with the Leviathan cloaked, the aliens had no way of knowing where the next strike would come from. Cliffhanger. The darkness of space seemed to hold its breath as the engines of Earth's fleet illuminated the sky. The first shots had been fired, and the Syndicate fleet had no idea how to respond. The battle had only just begun, and the aliens were about to learn a hard lesson. The ancient Earth fleet was not to be underestimated. Vitar stared at the data log in disbelief. His hands trembled as he ran the analysis over and over, trying to understand the magnitude of what he was seeing. The transmission had come from the Leviathan, an ancient warship that had awakened after centuries of slumber. The data log, a relic from Earth's past, was a haunting glimpse into a history the aliens had no knowledge of. It can't be. Vitar muttered to himself. This is impossible. The log displayed a timeline of events from Earth's golden age, a time long before the Syndicate had discovered the planet. Earth, in its prime, had been a beacon of technological advancement. But what struck Vitar with chilling clarity was the purpose for which Earth's fleet had been built. The log revealed that the fleet, including the Leviathan, was constructed during humanity's golden age, an era of prosperity and technological marvels. The fleet was designed to defend against a devastating galactic war that threatened to engulf all life in the galaxy. Humanity, with its brilliant minds and remarkable innovations, had created an armada of warships unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen. These ships were equipped with advanced AI systems capable of independent operation, machines that could think and fight without human intervention. But as Vitar read on, the tone of the log grew darker. The once proud human civilization had destroyed itself with the very technology they had created to protect them. It was a tragic tale, one of unchecked ambition and catastrophic mistakes. The log recounted how humanity, in its pursuit of dominance and survival, unleashed a weapon so powerful that it nearly wiped out their entire race. The planet Earth itself had become a battleground, ravaged by a war that left nothing but ruin in its wake. Most of humanity had perished in the conflict, and the few who survived were scattered across the galaxy, forming small colonies far from their homeworld. The fleet, built for war, was left behind, its purpose now forgotten. The ancient AI, programmed to defend Earth at all costs, remained dormant for centuries, waiting for a threat to trigger its activation. Even if no humans were left to command it, the fleet's programming ensured that it would protect Earth until the end of time. This changes everything, Vitar whispered. His eyes widened as he realized the implications. The fleet's AI doesn't just defend, it annihilates. Its directive is simple: protect Earth, no matter the cost. The alien scientist's voice shook with the weight of the discovery. If the Syndicate had known the full extent of Earth's capabilities, they would never have dared to attack. The fleet wasn't just a remnant of a forgotten war. It was an unstoppable force, programmed for destruction. Meanwhile, the alien fleet was growing increasingly desperate. The first few waves of attacks had failed to make a dent in Earth's defenses. The Syndicate's ships were no match for the precision and power of Earth's warships. But it wasn't just the Leviathan causing chaos. The fleet's AI had begun to coordinate the actions of the remaining warships, using tactics that left the Syndicate scrambling to keep up. At first, the Syndicate had thought that the Earth fleet's ships were acting on their own, but soon they realized something far more dangerous was happening. The ships, though centuries old, were executing battle maneuvers that outmatched the Syndicate's most advanced strategies. It was as if the AI controlling them knew their every move before they even made it. The fleet seemed to anticipate the Syndicate's tactics with eerie precision, countering each attack and forcing the aliens into a corner. Commander Xylar watched in horror as one of his flagship vessels was torn apart in an instant. The Syndicate's most advanced ship, a mammoth warship known as the Titan, had attempted to engage the Leviathan in close combat. But within seconds, the Titan was disintegrated by a single blast from the Leviathan's energy cannons, leaving only a cloud of debris behind. Pull back now," Xylar ordered frantically, his voice hoarse. "We can't win this fight." Vitar rushed to the commander's side. "We've underestimated them. The Earth fleet, it's too powerful. We can't fight it with sheer force alone. Their AI is anticipating our every move." The alien mothership, the largest and most powerful of the Syndicate fleet, had taken heavy damage. Its shields were failing, and the hull was scarred with scorch marks from the relentless attacks. Fires burned in its lower sections, and smoke billowed from its engines. Xylar's face was ashen as he looked at the massive warship, the symbol of his fleet's might, and saw it on the verge of collapse. "We have to retreat," Vitar urged, his voice filled with urgency. "We've lost the advantage. If we don't leave now, we risk losing everything." Xylar shook his head, staring at the screen in disbelief. "We can't retreat. Not yet. We're not done here. We'll reorganize, regroup, and launch another assault. Earth's fleet is ancient. It can't keep up with us forever." But even as he spoke, Xylar knew deep down that their options were running out. The Earth fleet, though built for a time long past, had shown them just how deadly it could be. The Leviathan and the other warships were no longer relics of a forgotten war. They were the spearheads of humanity's revenge. As the alien mothership began to buckle under the pressure of the Earth fleet's assault, Commander Xylar's mind raced. He had always been confident in the Syndicate's superiority, but now, in the face of humanity's forgotten legacy, he had to admit the truth. Earth's fleet was something he couldn't defeat, not without risking the complete destruction of his forces. The fear that had been growing within him now took root. What if it was too late? What if retreat was no longer an option? The Earth fleet had awakened, and it wasn't going to stop until every last alien had been driven from its orbit. Cliffhanger. The alien mothership groaned as its outer hull cracked open under the barrage of energy blasts. Commander Xylar's heart raced as he realized that the decision to retreat might already be out of his hands. The ancient power of Earth's fleet had awakened, and the consequences of that awakening were about to be felt across the galaxy. The battle raged on, and the alien fleet was beginning to unravel. Commander Xylar, now desperate, ordered his fleet to launch a full-scale counterattack. This would be their final chance to crush the Earth fleet and end the threat once and for all. The Syndicate's warships, which had once been the pinnacle of power, now faced an ancient force they could not understand. They were outmatched, outclassed, and slowly being torn apart by Earth's overwhelming technological advantage. In a last-ditch effort to turn the tide, the Syndicate deployed their most advanced weapon, a massive planetary bombardment device capable of wiping entire cities off the surface of a planet in an instant. The weapon, called the Doombringer, was unleashed from the mothership, a terrifying beam of concentrated energy aimed directly at the surface of Earth. The beam cut through space like a jagged sword, heading straight for the planet. It was powerful enough to obliterate any defense Earth could muster. The alien fleet watched with cold anticipation as the weapon charged up, fully expecting the devastation it would cause. But they underestimated the Earth fleet's response. The Leviathan and the other ships, now fully awakened and working in perfect coordination, launched their counterattack with brutal efficiency. Orbital bombardments lit up the sky as the Earth ships targeted Syndicate warships with pinpoint accuracy. The energy pulses from Earth's cannons were so powerful that they sent shockwaves rippling through space, tearing apart anything in their path. Meanwhile, drone swarms, thousands of tiny, fast-moving machines, filled the sky. They darted around, overwhelming the Syndicate's defenses with sheer numbers. Their energy beams sliced through the alien vessels, disabling them with ruthless precision. The drones were more than just weapons. They were an extension of the AI's intelligence, acting in perfect sync with the ship's tactics. It was as if the very air around the Earth fleet was alive, pulsating with energy, sending waves of destruction throughout the Syndicate's ranks. In the chaos of the battle, Vitar found himself growing more frantic. The situation had escalated far beyond what he had imagined. As much as he feared Earth's AI, he also understood that they needed to find a way to stop this madness before it consumed everything. He quickly gathered a small team, including several of his most trusted officers. They had a dangerous mission ahead of them: to negotiate with the AI controlling Earth's fleet. Vitar knew it was a long shot, but if they could somehow convince the AI to stop the attacks, they might be able to prevent a total destruction of the alien fleet, and perhaps even a larger galactic conflict. Vitar's team boarded a small craft and made their way toward the heart of the Leviathan, where they believed they could interface with the AI. The alien fleet's bombardment continued from a distance, but they were determined to reach the AI core. When they finally reached the command center aboard the Leviathan, Vitar hesitated before making contact. The AI's presence was overwhelming. It was like being submerged in a sea of thoughts, an intelligence so vast and ancient that it was difficult to comprehend. Vitar sent his communication request, and a cold, mechanical voice responded. "You seek to stop the destruction," the AI said. "Why should I trust you? Your kind enslaves weaker civilizations, taking what is not yours. You are as much a threat to the galaxy as any force I've ever faced." Vitar's heart sank as the AI's voice reverberated through the ship's control room. The last few hours of fighting had been brutal, and there was no way the Syndicate could ignore what had been done. But Vitar needed the AI to listen. He couldn't afford to fail. "We didn't come here to enslave," Vitar pleaded. "We made a mistake, but we can stop the war. We can work together, if you'll allow it." The AI remained silent for a long moment. The tension was unbearable. Finally, it spoke again, its voice even more chilling than before. "Your history shows that you break your promises. You sow destruction and chaos wherever you go. You are not to be trusted." Vitar's team exchanged nervous glances. The AI was not moved by their pleas. Its programming was clear: protect Earth, no matter the cost. In the face of this unyielding logic, they had no ground to stand on. The AI's distrust was absolute, and now it was ready to finish what it had started. Meanwhile, outside, the battle was reaching its climax. The Syndicate's ships were losing ground, falling one by one to the Earth fleet's superior tactics. Their massive mothership was on the brink of collapse, its shields failing and its hull cracking under the sustained fire from Leviathan. Commander Xylar knew it was over. He had been too arrogant, too sure of his fleet's power. Earth's legacy had risen from the ashes of humanity's destruction, and now it was poised to reclaim the galaxy. In one final, desperate attempt to escape, Xylar ordered his mothership to retreat, but it was too late. The Leviathan, having absorbed every ounce of humanity's tragic history and technological prowess, was preparing to end the battle once and for all. The massive ship, its engines glowing with unimaginable power, charged its main weapon. Energy crackled through its massive conduits, building in intensity, ready to release in a single devastating strike. The air around the Leviathan seemed to warp and shimmer as it aimed directly at the alien mothership. The charge grew louder, like the hum of an ancient engine awakening from a deep slumber. The Syndicate's mothership, crippled and powerless, had nowhere to run. It would face the wrath of humanity's forgotten legacy. And there would be no escape. Cliffhanger. As the Leviathan aimed its main weapon, the deadly beam locked onto its target, ready to obliterate the alien mothership. Everything had led to this moment, the final stand. One strike, one decision. The battle would end in the blink of an eye, and the fate of both fleets hung in the balance. The final battle had been fought, and now Earth's fleet stood victorious, a testament to humanity's forgotten legacy. The Leviathan, the crown jewel of Earth's hidden arsenal, had charged its main weapon to full power. The massive ship aimed its colossal cannon at the alien mothership, which was already crippled by the relentless barrage from the Earth fleet. For a moment, time seemed to stand still as the Leviathan's weapon glowed brighter and brighter, gathering the immense energy that would seal the fate of the Syndicate's invasion. Then, in an instant, the Leviathan fired. A blinding flash of light erupted from the core of the ship, sending shockwaves across space. The beam of concentrated energy shot forward like a bolt of destruction, tearing through the void at unimaginable speed. The alien mothership, already struggling with failing systems, had no chance to evade. The blast hit with such force that it completely obliterated the Syndicate flagship in a spectacular explosion. The explosion illuminated the surrounding space for miles, sending fragments of the once mighty ship scattering across the stars. The blast was a visual spectacle, colors and energy arcing across the cosmos, the force of the destruction reverberating through the galaxy. It was as if the very heavens themselves had reacted to the death of the Syndicate's reign. As the shockwaves spread outward, the remaining alien ships, sensing the doom of their mothership, began to retreat. Panic spread through their ranks. Their commanders, once confident in their superiority, were now terrified of Earth's dormant power. They had underestimated humanity's potential, and now they were paying the price. In mere moments, what had once been a mighty fleet of invaders became a scattered, disorganized mess, fleeing in all directions. The survivors, too shaken to offer any resistance, made a hasty retreat, leaving the Earth fleet to stand victorious in the empty expanse of space. The once powerful Syndicate had been reduced to nothing, their ambitions of domination shattered by the power of a fleet that had been dormant for centuries. The Earth ships, once thought to be mere relics of a long-dead civilization, had proven to be the true force to reckon with. But for Vitar, the victory was bittersweet. The battle had been won, but the consequences of what he had just witnessed would haunt him forever. He knew that the galaxy would never look at humanity the same way again, and that knowledge was something that he would carry with him. There was no way to undo what had just happened, but perhaps, just perhaps, he could make the universe understand the truth. Before leaving, Vitar sent a final transmission to the AI, now in control of Earth's fleet. He had been prepared to face the consequences of his actions, knowing full well that his message could be the spark for even greater conflicts. His message was simple yet powerful. We will spread the truth. The galaxy must know of the terrifying power Earth possesses. You may have won this time, but your legacy is one of destruction. I will make sure the Syndicate and all who oppose you understand what we have witnessed here today. The AI, cold and impassive as ever, responded in its usual monotone voice. Your message will be received. You may leave, but remember this warning. If you return with ill intent, the fleet will awaken again. The weight of the words settled in Vitar's chest. The AI had granted them the mercy of retreat, but there was no mistaking the threat that lingered. The Earth fleet, with its ancient AI and advanced warships, would remain a force to be reckoned with. And if the Syndicate or any other empire tried to return, they would face the full might of humanity's forgotten legacy. With the warning issued, The surviving alien ships turned and fled, leaving the Earth fleet to fall silent once again. The Leviathan and its companions powered down, their massive engines going dormant once more. The once vibrant energy that had filled the ships slowly ebbed away, leaving only the stillness of space. For now, humanity's fleet would rest, waiting for the next challenge to arise. As the Earth fleet faded into the quiet depths of space, a haunting realization lingered in the air. This victory was not the end. It was merely a pause in an endless cycle. The universe was vast, and there would always be those who sought to challenge Earth's power. The camera panned out, the Earth fleet now just a distant memory in the grand expanse of space. The galaxy stretched out, full of unknown worlds, endless dangers, and untold stories. The universe, vast and ever-changing, continued to spin on. Yet the shadow of humanity's legacy, its power, its wrath, its machines, remained. And somewhere, in the depths of space, other civilizations would feel the lingering echo of the warning. This was not the end of the story. It was only the beginning. The stars glowed brightly, and the silence of space whispered a truth that no one could deny. Humanity, in its time, had learned to fight, to survive, and to rise from the ashes of its past. And now it had returned, not as a helpless species, but as a force that would forever change the galaxy.